Good evening, everybody. This is Michael Locke with DEQ. Yes, I am on vacation, but I felt like this was an important meeting to call into. So, um, our updates are a little bit brief, but as Caleb was alluding to with McCormick and Baxter, that is our primary update for tonight. So last month, DEQ approved the prospective purchaser agreement with Portland Botanical Gardens. And what that is essentially a tool under the state's environmental cleanup law to support the beneficial reuse of the property while also ensuring that the cleanup remedy remains protective of human health and the environment. So I wanted to really emphasize that while we did make that approval, it does not mean that Portland Botanical Gardens owns the property right now. So this was not a transfer of property agreement right now. They do have some requirements that they need to meet, and one of those being is showing they have the ability to raise at least $3 million. So having $3 million at least raised within a year of that agreement being signed, which was, if I'm remembering correctly, May 19th. So that is one of many conditions involved in this prospective purchaser agreement. So as Caleb mentioned, this one is pretty detailed. So um, some of the other highlights involved is that they must develop research and education focused botanical gardens on a portion of the property, have public access to green space and the Willamette River, as well as construction of the Willamette River Greenway Trail across the property, along with habitat improvements and conservation of riparian areas. Additionally, they will be required to develop engagement plans for both tribes and the community. So these are two separate plans that Portland Botanical Gardens will need to develop and submit to DEQ for approval. So that is just several of the key conditions in this agreement um, among several others. And I'm sure Portland Botanical Gardens will probably share more details about their plans for the site when we get to that part of the agenda item. I will also add a link to our chat for DEQ's McCormick and Baxter webpage where you can see more of those details and specifics and be able to find those prospective purchaser agreement documents as well, along with our response to comments. So as a lot of folks know, we had a 60-day formal comment period, which did involve meetings with the communities. We had some public meetings as well as separate meetings with tribal representatives. And you will be able to see our response to the comments that we received during that formal comment period as well. So I'm going to add that link to the chat for you all. And with that said, I wanted to also invite Sarah Greenfield to talk a little bit more about work that is being done to evaluate potential more habitat or people-friendly options for that articulated concrete block that is part of the remedy. And what that does is it's an armoring layer on top of the sediment cap, and that does span the Willamette Cove site as well as McCormick and Baxter. So, Sarah, if you would like to provide some more details on that, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, and good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Greenfeld with Oregon DEQ, and I wanted to provide just a quick update, as Michael said, on something that we touched on at the last collaborative. We've talked a lot in the updates about McCormick and Baxter. There's a lot going on there. Also, redevelopment potential and several other projects in that area, the upland cleanup, the in-water cleanup. Um, there's just a lot of things happening. The future nature park that Metro is planning. And with all of this kind of future visioning around that area of Willamette Cove, we've heard, concerns from community members and others about the articulated concrete block itself. which provides some limited habitat value currently, and also has some undulations in it that have been identified as a potential safety concern for folks out at that site. And so, hearing those concerns, DEQ agreed to prepare a draft technical memorandum to evaluate potential options for the ACB that could provide additional habitat uplift and improve the overall aesthetics of that portion of Willamette Cove. So we looked at a variety of options, including just doing what we're doing now, ongoing O&M, because the cap itself continues to be protective. And so, the kind of minimum requirement is to do the O&M work to kind of keep that um, articulated concrete block in compliance with design specifications. But we also looked at potential habitat improvement options, including placing a stable rock overlay on top of the ACB, and then also fully removing and replacing the ACB with that habitat rock. We looked at some other things too, large woody debris, plantings, things like that. It's all discussed in the memo. But really, this is intended to be a tool to better understand the constructability of these different options, to what extent they can help provide additional habitat, and also the cost for implementing these different options. So this draft is pretty far along at this point. It's just going through internal reviews, and we are hoping that we should be able to share it out maybe as soon as July. So just wanted to let you all know that that's happening, put it out on your radar. And we're seeing this as kind of a tool for the community to kind of understand the different options that are out there and, what you'd like to see. Because we don't have any funding available to do this work yet. But kind of understanding the different options that could be done is a way to help support future conversations about, what funding options may become available in the future. So that's where we're at. We will find a way to kind of push that out here as soon as it's ready. So stay tuned and look out for that in the next, month or so.
Thank you, Sarah.